hello there. So I am getting ready to make pizza Diavola. I'm going to make it in my way rather than the absolute 100% traditional way, but it's still going to hit the spot, which means super spicy salami pizza. So you see in front of you all of the ingredients that I actually need, and it's not a lot. So first things first, I actually made my own pizza dough that's been rising for a while now. You can also get pizza dough at the store if you're into the shortcuts, but making your own is so super simple, and I've got a video on it. In fact, I also have a little bit of a non-traditional hack. A true Italian would probably slap me across the face, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to be using Pesto Rosso for my pizza sauce instead of like a passata or something like that. I also have Turkish red peppers. These are not spicy. I just really like them on this pizza. These are my spicy chiles. It's actually a piquant mix that I buy at a local grocery store, but I've just diced these raw spicy chilies to put on my pizza because the Diavola must be spicy. I also have some thinly sliced red onions, again, just to add to a little bit of crunch and spiciness to the pizza. What I don't have is a spicy salami, which is very traditional in a Diavola. I chose instead salami finocchiona. This is a salami that's flavored with fennel, which is super duper tasty on pizza, but it's not traditionally spicy. But that's okay because we're going to add so many spicy elements that this pizza is going to blow our socks off. And then finally, I've got my mozzarella, and I'm using the little mini fresh balls of mozzarella that I've cut in half. It's going to make nice little puddles of mozzarella all over the pizza. And then finally, this is not mandatory, but I'm going to show you how to use some spicy chili oil on your pizza crust if you're really into it. Now, I'm actually going to get started with forming my crust, but because I'm going to use my pizza stone to bake my pizza, I will be actually forming my pizza on my paddle right here, and to do that and make sure that my pizza doesn't stick, I'm going to be using cornmeal on my pizza paddle. So that's my real final ingredient. But if you don't have a pizza stone, if you're going to be baking in a pizza pan, actually cornmeal is still a handy dandy trick to make absolutely sure that your pizza crust doesn't stick. So I'm just going to clear my workbench and then get started with forming my pizza. So you can see here that I'm working on a heavily floured work surface. Basically, I'm going to have a top of the pizza dough and I'm going to have a bottom of the pizza dough. The bottom of the pizza dough is the side that I want to be all floury and to make sure that it can actually scoot around and stuff. And the top of the pizza dough, yes, there's some flour on here, but I don't want to add more. So first things first, we just want to gently stretch out our dough a little bit, but really gently just to make sure that we've got a nice circle. And then we're going to take our fingertips and press those where we want a crust, basically. Because when we flatten out our pizza, believe it or not, even though it's going to look pretty flat, that crust will actually bake up properly. Alright, so that's looking pretty good. Now, we're going to do exactly what I did in my original pizza video in order to stretch this big guy out, which is we're going to let gravity do a lot of the work, and we're just going to turn it in our hands. That's all we're going to do, is turn it back and forth until we get the size that we would like. Flippy, flippy, flippy. And you're also turning the circle as you do this, otherwise you end up with a weird oval. You want to have a nice circle of dough. Now, because I am making single-person pizzas, this is probably a pretty good size. I would say that you're getting around 10 inches maybe, something like that. Alright, so I've got my pizza dough ready and set here. So I'm not going to put toppings and stuff on this dough like this because I would never ever get it off of my paddle. But I'm going to take my paddle and I need to sprinkle the whole thing with cornmeal before I put my dough on it. Otherwise, I might not be able to get my pizza off. And basically, I slide this pizza, the whole thing, onto my stone. This paddle doesn't stay with it, of course, because it's made of wood. So I've got to make sure that that loaded pizza can make it off the paddle with a little shove, which is why we use our cornmeal. And there we are. So I will very carefully place my dough on the paddle. Make sure he's in about the shape I'd like him to be. And what I want to see is this scooting motion. We start, of course, with our red sauce. Now I like to spoon some of this on and then spread it out with a pastry brush. And it doesn't need a really thick coating. Oopsies. It doesn't need a really thick coating because this is pesto. So it's already a really nice, strong flavor. And I try to keep my crust bare. I don't actually brush it all the way to the edge. Not only is that a little bit more, I guess, traditional when we think about what we eat when we eat pizza, but I'm also going to do something to that crust right at the end, and I need it to be nice and clean. All right, pizza is red sauced. Now we can start putting things on in, honestly, just about any order that we want. I usually start with my meat, and then I do my cheese, and then I do my vegetables on top. Let's get some cheese on here, and you just dot this around wherever feels right. I'm a huge cheese fan, so I tend to put a lot of cheese on my pizza. Kaboom! Done with our cheese. Now we're going to start with the not so spicy peppers. We'll get some onion on here. Onion, when it cooks, will shrivel up. So if you are a really big fan of onion, don't be afraid to put lots and lots of onion on here. And last but certainly not least, we're going to go with our spicy peppers. And these are spicy. So in the interest of not killing anyone, I'm not going to put more than maybe a tablespoon of these peppers sprinkled about the pizza. All right, and there we are. Now, this is the cheaty part that, honestly, I don't see it on Italian pizza, probably because it's simply not done, but I'm going to do it because it's always this bit of crust around here. Yeah, if you make good crust like I do, then of course you're going to want to eat the crust because it's friggin' fluffy and tasty and delicious. But I can make it even more delicious. So what I have here is some chili oil. This is going to be spicy oil. And I'm actually going to just lightly brush around the entire crust, but I'm not done yet. I am also going to sprinkle this spicy garlic salt that I get from the US onto that crust. And that is going to give me free garlic bread. And there we have a Diavola pizza ready to bake. I'm going to go ahead and throw this in the oven for 6 to 7 minutes, and I will see you guys when she's finished. And here she is, fresh out of the oven. Pizza Diavola. Enjoy.